with throttling, which I want to talk about later. It's very important in terms of limits of the system. And also data capture. Network traffic is captured completely, so you can recreate scenarios very, very easily in the system. I mean, it's all in all pretty good. All right, this comes into our other problem. What exactly are we looking for in terms to traffic classification? I mean, pretty much what we're looking for is any issue with the underlying operating system and every level of the platform. Pretty much we're looking to see everything from the system crashed, if it began to seek out other IP addresses, or I mean, even something simple as if some jerk tried to put a tick mark into the web interface to see if the application is constructing raw SQL strings. All right, in a typical scenario one, the typical traffic flow would be something like our SYN proxied OpenBSD box would realize that we have a rule within Snort that is that's basically like an HTTP request for get space / HTTP 1.0. And this, I mean, this would be most scenarios. If you look at your /var, HTTP logs, rules, I mean, the same things over and over and over again. Even if it's dynamic content, it's still very repetitive. Now, in scenario two, another flow of traffic comes through, and no Snort rule is instantiated. So by default, we've assumed that this is traffic that we have never seen in a system, and it may be an attack. So traffic is routed to the HoneyNet gateway. I mean, does anyone find this in this room find it dangerous that if you construct some randomly bizarre string in HTTP and send it to like bankofamerica.com, that string will actually hit their server and be processed by their network service? I mean, I just think that's crazy. Our system is sending to the honeypot. I mean, I don't let strangers into my house. I mean, that's where I keep my beer and flat screen TV. I mean, this scenario, traffic was sent, was not malicious, but I mean, I feel better about the situation in general. Scenario three, I let the stranger into my guest house, locks him inside where the TV has no cable and the fridge is filled with O'Douls. I mean, it's a much better attack. I mean, possibly we could have a new attack scenario, and I mean, it could have been the old employee who was trying to get back into his old company. I mean, either way, this system is an attempt to account for a previously unseen attack scenario. Okay, this is where I get a little bit preachy. I mean, there'll be two kinds of new attacks that we're going to find. Pretty much, I mean, your mistakes or someone else's. And if it's your mistake, then, I mean, you got lucky. You get to, this is how you found it out, not on the front page of the news. And if it's someone else's mistake, I mean, I believe in informing the vendor and going through that whole process, even though, I mean, a lot of times you try to inform a vendor about something you found in the product and they fight you every step of the way. But, I mean, I do understand what HD and some of the people are doing by forcing vendors to take responsibility and removing venue for exploit. Okay. And just like in group counseling, this is where I recognize my own flaws. These are the engineering concerns that I have, and I'm hoping a lot of people in this room and people who view the project are able to find better solutions to this. Now, my biggest concern was attacking the system, and I'm going to talk a lot more about that in the next slide. But the second biggest problem was the inefficiencies in the system in terms of creating and maintaining rules. I mean, it's sad to say, but some people prefer flexibility to insecurity. Another big problem was content changing. I mean, I know some people who are so afraid of commitment, they don't even like to write in pen, so why would they want to update their rules? Another problem would be maintaining keys and session-oriented traffic. I mean, what if an attack entailed several steps in a session where the first 2 or 3 steps were completely benign inside the rule set, but the 4th step, something we haven't seen yet? I mean, a solution to that might be adding content-aware proxying, but I mean, that's going to add even more complexity to the system and something I really would prefer not to do. Okay, attacking the system directly, or confusing it by sending it traffic, intentionally invoking the system, possibly looking for a breaking point or muddling results. I mean, I personally sent security equipment large volumes of traffic that I knew would instantiate rules because they typically leak the attack or even fail open. Most IPSs that are default pass with large rule sets, by default, fail open. Ideally, I mean, the honeypot will, I need to drink some water. I've been talking really fast. Ideally, the honeypot's only going to receive 1 instance of each attack. At that point, we take the virtual machine, we suspend it, analyze it later. Okay, here's my solution to attacking the system. I mean, pretty much what you want to do is stop repetitive attacks and stop known attacks hitting the system and causing problems with it. So a solution to attack the system is to use our old friend IPS. I mean, a lot of highly intelligent people spend a lot of time creating this technology. And I mean, I did just contradict myself earlier. A default pass IPS would be very useful to sit in front of the Statue of Liberty to pretty much whittle down traffic so that if the honeypot catches it, also if the honeypot catches a new attack, you can much more quickly put into your default pass IPS blocking rules on that. Okay, so in conclusion, network security models should incorporate logic to account for systems failing to recognize an attack scenario or not having logic for a new attack scenario. Also, for some acknowledgments I have, I mean, I really do like a lot of these open source projects because it's really in the spirit of what we're doing here in terms of security. I mean, if you divulge the instructions to what you did to create a piece of logic and have the whole community take a look at it in general, then, I mean, that's a much more secure model than keeping all the keys separate in terms of what happened. I mean, most people do not write secure software. The average software time to market, I mean, security is something that's typically overlooked in way of profit. So people will be like, we'll push this to market, and then we'll patch it later on. And that's why open source is really a very, in my opinion, the only route to go if security would actually become closer to being achieved. Also, two other individuals, my company, Chuck McCauley and Seth Hardy, helped me write some of the code. They're both very intelligent guys and want to make a point of thanking them. And thank you very much for coming and listening to me talk today. Does anyone have any questions? Even with the Red Sox? I was hoping Dinesh would be here. I mean, Dinesh works at Tipping Point, and he always battles me back with different things because my full-time job is working at this company where we make pretty much exploits to run through systems, and he's usually good to go back and forth. But I saw him sitting right there. I thought it'd be great, but I mean, thank you very much.